Okay, to start class, you're going to be doing the first page of the Sontag worksheet that is posted on Canvas. You don't have a group, so you're just going to do it from your point of view, what Sontag means. And if you left your Sontag essay here, I also posted a digital version of that so that you can use that. And when you do the Sontag section, you're trying to use that paraphrase quote method. So pull some quotes from Sontag to support that this actually is what Sontag says.
Did John ever send you the other ones? Okay.
I'm gonna need to delete them out of my email.
You use like images to
Oh, looks like Lexi did give them to me.
Oh
no. Okay, so the questions are the same ones that are on the yellow sheet.
Okay.
And then there were the 3 on the back of your purple sheet that you also were demonstrating. Okay, so all right, let me get your attention. We are going to now go through your photos, and you're just going to explain what the photo is meant to represent so that we can get this photo representation, which I think could be one challenge to Sontag's argument that photographs sometimes help us understand the world a little bit better. But you're going to just explain for each photo what you were trying to argue in each photo. So do you remember what this one was? Oh, it could be a defense.
I'm not really sure.
A defense against anxiety. I'm not sure either for this one.
I don't know why you didn't get that. Yeah.
Lexi's working from home, so maybe she can give us a little, she's not on Zoom, but she can give us some insight when she watches the recording. Okay, how about this one?
That was it's social right.
Okay. Yeah, so when she talks about social right, R-I-T-E, what does she mean by that?
Ritual or religious event.
Yeah, but it can be. All right, so if photography is a social right, why all of you guys with your cameras out, how does that convey that it's a social right?
Everyone's like, oh, wow.
Okay, cool. So it's like this way that you can participate together. Yeah. Right, and then it becomes this way of like, I mean, she talks about alienation, and this could be one way that we could think about alienation through photography, is that if you don't participate in the action of taking pictures, or if we expand this to be about social media, she was writing this in the 60s, 70s maybe, so way before social media. But if we're applying it to social media, like those of you that don't have social media, you are not participating in a social right, like a social custom that we all have signed on to. So what are you doing? You know, that kind of thing.
Well, that was the like alienation.
Good. So in this, it's not necessarily the act of photography that's alienating, right? It is the picture itself that you can create in groups and out groups through the picture.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
What was that one for? Oh, it's one of our other ones.
Okay, so there's a way that this picture itself is conveying power.
Yeah. Or is it one of our? No, I think it might be the. Oh, we did another one. Right?
Let's talk about this one for a second as power, because I think it actually works. Why do we always want to take photos of like the teams and post them? Like we not just post, like we put them on posters, we put them in the hallways. Same with like in our auditorium. There's like, are any of you on those?
Simon is, but he's not.
Yeah, that's right, Simon. You know the big like athlete posters that we have in the gym? Like, in what way does that convey power to have the photographs?
Oh no, all records.
Oh no, really?
Well, like,
Yeah.
like if you know the context behind it, the people on those posters are only like the most important people. Like Simon is like one of the best guys on track.
Mhm.
And so like
Amazing.
and so, like,
Okay, yeah.
expressing that everyone else in that image is also a power.
Okay, good. So yeah, so Simon being, I hope Simon is watching the recording too at some point. Simon being like on that poster, right, in front in the gym, even if he is not, like Maxwell just called Simon out. Let me just for the record, he said he hasn't competed this year.
Because he's injured.
Okay, so great point.
Photography's feeling like.
Hang on though, we're talking about the power here. Because when you have him sort of like singled out like that and put on the poster, and it's like we have chosen to crop the photo so it is just Simon, and those pictures for everyone, they all look very powerful, like they are posed in these like tough positions, right? It's this way of conveying their importance and their power. So I think like that works for this team photo. How about this one?
Yeah, it's like, photography can present many different meanings. We have like a name.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I think what Sontag is talking about too, though, is the way that the viewer attaches meaning to it. And so it's the way that we read this. We can look at this and say, depending on who we are, we can say, wow, Lexi is like the fun one in this photo and Cameron's the boring one, right? Or we can read this and say, Lexi is the ridiculous, like spastic one and Cameron is the serious, scholarly one. There's all these different like perspectives that we can bring to the photograph. And she's talking about how then we think the photograph has this solid meaning because it is like this real, it's like capturing this real moment in time. But really all of that meaning is dependent on the viewer. And you don't totally have control over how people are going to view this. Oh, our mission statement. Any thoughts on the mission statement?
Yeah.
So it's like this way of saying like this really is true about Harriman High School because we've taken a photo.
It's like supposed to show that that's what like the Mustangs are about.
Is it really? Yeah. Okay, good. Headed into the men's room? Scandalous. Excellent. So here we've got, and what I love is that they've taken a picture with motion. So we have this like motion that our eye, or not just our eye, but like we fill in the blanks as viewers and we say they are headed into that men's room, right? But they could stop right here. They don't actually see anything and they could turn around and go back. Or they could not even be in motion here. It could be a trick and they are just freeze framed, right? But we can't tell.
I think they were one. Oh.
Yeah.
I took that one. That's the power one.
Power to show them in this powerful position.
Look at that. I don't know what that one was. I just went up against the wall.
It's a cool photo though.
I don't know.
Since you don't have a group, you're getting out of some of this.
Oh, that one was supposed to be like hiding the truth one. It's like the so like screenshot. It's like the media how it portrays it. Like it looks like I'm doing something wrong, but then she's the one like trying to get at me.
I
So now,
see.
like, we can cut it off and change it.
She's the Will Smith in this scenario, and you're the Chris Rock. This says vote on it.
Yeah, that one I think is.
Simon's so funny.
Or Abby had a note ball.
Okay, well, we'll skip the rest. We'll look at them, but we'll skip the rest. since your group isn't here, so many bathroom photos.
I can't wait for one group.
That was ours.
Okay.
It was the same thing that they were saying.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know you guys took this picture. Yeah. We already had that discussion. Okay. What's this one?
That's ours.
Whose?
Ours.
Okay. What's the argument here?
About what about anxiety? It's like it's a picture of a stairwell, but it's like instead of like one of the main things that causes anxiety is like
Yeah.
and this one like centralizes the situation on something else.
And is that the photograph?
Yeah.
That is different? Oh, yes, I think that's a beautiful way of saying this. So like if our anxiety to confront certain situations is like our brain sort of rapidly going through all of these different circumstances, taking the photograph can be a way of kind of calming that anxiety then and sort of solidifying it. I think she does talk about that a little bit, especially later in the book. She talks about that with war photography as a way of capturing moments. It's like kind of ironic because it is meant to raise anxiety in the viewer, but in a lot of ways, taking that photograph as the photographer in that situation, they're calming anxieties because it becomes visible and it becomes comprehensible. You can agree with that or not. I think it's a pretty controversial point, but that's sort of what she's saying. What's this one about? Okay, so it's because we have a photograph of this that it actually was tested, but we're not so sure.
That one was a social right.
Okay, tell me about why it's a social right, this particular post.
Because they're actually doing it. So now like
Yeah.
jumping in the air is like it was a trend.
Yeah. Same with the peace sign. Like, would any of us do a peace sign if it wasn't a social right to do it in photographs specifically? Like it really,
It got popularized with, like,
it conveys like a playfulness, right? And it's sort of like part of being part of the culture.
wait, do you want to do that one? Wait, do it.
All right, how about this one?
Yeah, so this one was for this one was
Uh-huh.
so it was just it was kind of just kind of like you don't really like notice like the small fine details unless you take time to like show these.
See, and I actually think that like what you're describing might be the opposite of what she says. And I agree that there's like a counter argument there. So what she's saying is this alienation, it alienates what is being taken, like the photograph and the photographer, from the rest of the world, so that you can create your own meaning through your like powerful perspective as a photographer, and then you're kind of alienated from the truth of the world, right? But I think what this photograph shows is that it can actually suture you more into the world, because here you're noticing little bits of the world that other people don't notice, you know? How about this one?
This one is actually a really good story. I don't know if anyone will use it. It's really pretty. Like if this classroom has no windows, so like if you think about it. But anyway,
It's awful,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, this is like power and knowledge. So like we know where this root is, so it's kind of like, you guys don't, I guess.
Yeah, okay, I get that. This looks like a conspiracy theory. What is this? Oh, it's the newspaper.
Photographs that can capture the
Okay, good. I like that. So it's like we're kind of limited from our about our stories too. We don't usually tell stories in the newspaper without having the photographic like evidence. And so if you can't have the photographic evidence, it kind of limits the stories you tell as well.
I don't remember what this one was.
Very artistic though.
Like, well, they show experiences. You look at this, like, he would then exchange, all right, who's been out to eat. There's like those bunch of different experiences you have.
Yeah. So it's like evidence of those experiences through our trash.
Yeah. One's trash.
This one's experience is captured. Okay, what's this one about?
I'm pretty sure this one's furnishings evidence. Like, I did go to me.
Look at me, so fancy. Okay.
Oh, this one's Noah. I don't remember
I think
why.
this is Howard, because he's holding 8 chairs.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. And I also like that this updates Sontag's argument because we've got the kind of filter on it. And so that it's this way that with Photoshop, which was not a thing when she was writing, and editing pictures was actually quite difficult, but now it's so easy that it's even further away from that presumption of truth that she says photographs have. Now we are, I think, more sophisticated viewers than when Sontag was writing. Like, I think that we've had enough conversations about how photography does not mean truth that we're not looking at this and we're like, he's actually on fire, you know? But we do kind of look at the way he's carrying these chairs and we assume he's powerful, even though he maybe only just picked them up 1 second ago and he's about to put them down and, you know, pant because it's so difficult for him, right? All right, I'm going to show you now the pictures that were sent to my email. There might be sensitive info here, 1 second.
Did you not have the rest?
Spence?
No, there.
Oh, no, then I don't. You should airdrop them to me. Look, there I am. Ben, you weren't here last time, right?
Nope, I just found photos. on
Sorry,
the-
this kind of, okay, let's see. I gotta make sure
I
my,
don't even remember what the arguments were. She kind of talks like you need like take photos like as proof you did something. So I took
Yes.
this photo, like proof I did like horseshoe bend.
oh, okay, cool, yeah. So it's like, there you are up above. So it's like from that position, we have this proof that you did something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she, I don't really agree with this, but she argues that like we take work pictures to do work, and this would be like working on my car. So
Interesting. And what's cool is you're working on your car, maybe you need a break, but maybe you'd feel a little bit anxious about taking that break. You can take a picture instead and it's like you're still working.
yeah.
That's sort of her point. I do this, like, I'm embarrassed about this, but I do this like when I spend a day reading. I'm an English teacher. That's like my ultimate relaxation. I love it. But I feel guilty about just reading all day, you know, like it's like, oh, I should be doing so much more. So instead of doing stuff, because I really do need a break and I really do value reading, I will take pictures of what I'm reading and I will post that. And it's like I've given myself a little job, a little purpose to why I am reading. And then I get to give myself permission to relax. That's part of her anxiety argument. Who are these people?
This is my family. So she talks a lot about how it's like a family, right? So like you need to take photos with your family or else it didn't happen.
Yeah, and you're a bad parent. That's part of the social right she's talking about too. That's part of the social right she's talking about, is if parents do not participate in photography, they are not being good parents. Like we tease my sister about this because I have lots of pictures of me. My second sister has lots of pictures of me. My third sister has not very many pictures of her. Maybe like from when she's like 1 to like 7, she's got, I don't know, a handful, 10, 15. My parents were just not taking pictures during that time period, you know? There's nothing personal about it, but we sure like to say that there's something personal about it, that she's the least favorite because of it, you know? All right, let me see then. I've also got the ones from who sent them to me? The ones with Jonah in them. Or was it Spencer? Yeah, it was Spencer because I responded. Wow. All right, here we go. Okay, I want to fit it all on my screen, but I'm not able to, so. There's the picture. So let's stick here. What is the argument in this picture?
You think it was the most alienate one?
Okay.
I'm not quite sure.
I also was wondering about that color.
It's just like.
Jonah's just having some fun.
Wait, I
Okay, all right. How about this one? What's this one about?
That one's gotta be the social right, probably.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so take a picture to show that you're bros. Show if, according to Tolentino, the picture is even more important than if you're actually friends.
That's the assumption of veracity.
Okay,
It says CNN.
so it must be CNN.
Yeah.
How about this one?
This one's the no, is this one the alien one? Why? Basically, it was just like picture of picture of picture, and it was like it was
To me, what's significant here is the way that it's cropped. Like that he's taking this picture of the locker number, maybe as like a kind of evidence. You're taking a picture of him taking a picture, but you're only getting like, it looks like shoulders up. And then we're getting almost like a long shot here. And so the more pictures you take, the more you assume you have this like greater vision of the world. To me, it seems like that could work. Maxwell?
That kind of matches with one of the things on our paper, on our page.
Yeah.
Was, photograph can be treated as a narrowly selective transparency, which, like, from what I thought,
Mhm.
what I was saying is like, you're not getting the full picture at sometimes.
Yeah.
So, like, it shows like equal levels of that.
Right. So if we could take pictures of literally everything, then maybe we could trust pictures. If we had every angle from all the time, right? But even here, we don't know what the person back here is doing because it's got to be limited at some point. Okay. Oh, okay. What's happening here? Okay. You know, the other part of the power here is that now that you own this photograph, you know, if it's experience captured, someone has captured this photograph, you can pass this around now to humiliate. Who's this, Noble? You can pass this around to like humiliate Noble, you know, like the same way that the Will Smith, Chris Rock photos can go around now, like humiliating, I mean, from either angle, one of them, huh? Yeah.
Chris Rock made a joke.
So that now those can be disseminated because they've been captured in photographs. Without the photograph, it's less humiliating because you can picture Will Smith like, you know, dominating that, or you can picture Chris Rock and like him being like totally suave about it. Depending on how someone tells the story, with the photograph, that changes, it becomes powerful. And then this one was interesting. So what's going on in this picture?
Always having some fun.
I don't know.
Yeah, I just said, wow. All right. Okay, and then last ones, let's look at the ones that were just sent to me. Okay, what's this one about? Uh-huh. Okay, good. So it's like the filter changes our perspective of it. Okay. This one?
alienation, I think.
So how is this only a fragment or piece of reality?
We don't know what they're actually doing. We had no clue what they were doing.
I see.
We just thought Lexi was just jumping up and down, and we happened to get a picture. Wait, were you taking a picture of something else, and then that was just in the background? We were just taking pictures of standing there, and then you took a picture.
That's great. Okay, good. This one.
Athena, would you like to?
Yeah. So it's like proximity to the honor roll. What I love too is that she's not like, there's no like word bubble here that says, I am part of the honor roll, right? The veracity that we assume is just because of the proximity of it. So we're like, oh, yep, that must be true because here she is posing like that in front of that honor roll. Uh-huh. Oh. All right. Okay, good. So those are the photos I got. Let's stop there. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your photos. Was there any that I missed? I don't think so. Oh, my hair's going. Oh, all right. Anyway, so flip this piece of paper over now. Susan Sontag writes the most scathing stuff about photography in a way that like was kind of like weird to hear at the time. Since then, people have talked about this idea of manipulating reality through photography, talked about it to death, as we've sort of talked about. But at the time, most people were thinking of photography as an art form. People were thinking about like the photographer with, you know, their nice Nikon cameras that they've spent thousands of dollars on. They've got their tripods, they go into nature. Like that is most people's experience with photography at the time she is writing. So for her to write this scathing point of view about photography, people are just like, kind of, why is this really a reality? As it's aged, I feel like it's grown more and more like representative of how we use photography. She was like a little ahead of her time there. Actually, Susan Sontag was ahead of her time in so many things. She is also the person who kind of popularized the word camp. So when you call something camp or campy, do people do that in here? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So to call things camp, if you've heard of that, I don't want to get sidetracked here, but she didn't invent that. It comes from gay culture, but she popularized it for everybody else. She made this essay called What is Camp? So she was like always ahead of her time. But anyway, there was more positive things written about photography when she was writing than negative things. And I wanted to give you these quotations. This is from a photographer named Robert Adams. And he writes, at our best and most fortunate, we make pictures because of what stands in front of the camera, to honor what is greater and more interesting than we are. And he doesn't see that as a negative thing. Like Susan Sontag might say like, oh, it's alienating for that reason. But he's saying, no, it's an honor. We never accomplish this perfectly. So he's like, okay, yeah, it doesn't always, you know, present the truth that way. Though in return, we are given something perfect, a sense of inclusion rather than alienation. Our subject thus redefines us and is part of the biography by which we want to be known. What does that last part mean? Our subject thus redefines us and is part of the biography which we want to be known.
It's like how you want, sorry,
You're good.
it's like how you want other people to perceive you, and like what, I always ask this question to my friends, like, what do you wish people would like realize about you that like you know about yourself and what else really about you?
Yes.
And so by creating like this, by taking pictures and creating this art form, you show your perception of the world, even if it's not exactly reality, it's reality to you.
Yes. And then because we're talking about presenting those photos then to the world, he thinks that just taking the photo, it can become a part of your sense of yourself. But by presenting it, it's like a way of the question that Ali Rose asked her friend. It's like a way of sort of this sounds bad, but sort of like forcing that question on everyone. Like, here's what I want you to know about myself, you know? And in that way, it creates this sense of inclusion with your environment. So if you take a picture like Ben did of, what was that hike?
Horseshoe Bend.
Horseshoe Bend. If you take a picture of Horseshoe Bend, it's not just to say like, see, look how cool I am. I'm up here and you didn't do this thing. I did this thing. It's a way of saying like, I took this picture of Horseshoe Bend. This represents my perspective in this moment. This is me honoring the beauty of that place and trying to kind of capture a little of that beauty for who I am as a person too. You know? All right, next quote. It says, the job of the photographer is not to catalog indisputable fact, but to try to be coherent about intuition and hope. What does that mean? The first part, it's not about cataloging an indisputable fact. What does that mean? Yeah, exactly. He's like, photography is not about providing evidence. He says it is about being coherent about intuition and hope. What does that mean?
Oh,
Ben?
I think it's talking about how like you take a photo of what you want them to see. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you take the photo of what like perspective and like how we want to see something.
Yeah, Sontag is thinking about photographs as troubling because they are not truthful. And he is like, photographs are great because you can present the world the way you want it to be. Hopeful, sort of like beautiful part of the world. Yeah.
I think it's also like the thing that you show is like what you think is as well. Like
Yes.
you're expressing what you think like it is important.
Yeah, and that's the intuition part, right? Like that it's like, it's how I view the world and how what I want to see as important in the world. Yeah.
Since I like when I had commissions in Boston, like they talked about how important it is as artists to like how do we fit into the world when there's such a what are we supposed to represent? And I think that translates to like photography because by taking pictures of like loss and suffering, it's not to show. Yeah, it is to show like facts, but it's not to show just that. It's to show I don't know growth and like perspective and how we as people.
Yes. Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, this last quote. If the proper goal of art is, as I now believe, beauty, so he's talking about aesthetics there, right? It's about conveying like a beautiful picture to the world. The beauty that concerns us is that of form. Beauty is a synonym for the coherence and structure of underlying life. Did I tell you about the film theorist that talks about this with movies? I don't know if I did. Maybe, but like quickly, there's a film theorist that believes the same thing, which is that like by taking a picture of something, it forces your attention to that thing and you notice its form more. You're actually looking at its outlines and its colors, and especially if you look at a photograph for a really long time, you're actually looking at the material qualities of that thing. And because of that, there's this way that it shows this coherence and structure, meaning like, when the wind blows, the tree's leaves move, and it's like a cause and effect pattern to our world. So photography can be a way of bringing that out. So he, as a photographer, is very positive about photography. He loves photography. This isn't a direct response to Susan Sontag, but it could be. I think he's addressing a lot of those same issues. So you're going to write a paragraph now. And the two, I say right there, I have a number 1 and a number 2. You're going to use one of those sentences for your topic sentence. You don't need to rewrite it. You can just put a little number 1 there and then pretend that's your topic sentence and keep writing. But you're going to use my topic sentences that I've written as a way to focus your argument. So number 1, posting pictures on social media is how we convince others that we're comfortable in our surroundings. Or number 2, it's a way of capturing the past and ensuring that we will always remember the past through the lens of a camera. And I kept those points neutral because you can feel either positively or negatively about either of those arguments, right? So then you are going to write a paragraph that uses both Robert Adams. You're going to use both Adams and Sontag in the paragraph. So you're kind of showing the way that their opinions or point of views compare and contrast. What's cool about these quotes is that you can notice the ways that they compare and contrast. Like you can say they both believe that photography is not factual, but I keep calling Roberts, Adams takes this more positive point of view, right? So you can kind of show the way they both compare and contrast, and then ultimately you're proving one of these topic sentences as your own point of view. All right, I'm gonna give you 10 minutes to work on this, and then I'll check in.
Do you have to use one as a counter argument, or can you use like both of them?
You can use both of them for, yeah. You can find the way that they are both like arguing for your position. I don't think in this one you could find a way they're both arguing against your position. But yeah, you can use them both for. Yep. So writing the paragraph just at the bottom of this yellow sheet. If you run out of space, I can get you some more paper though. No, and so it's the one about the paragraph. I should move now I can't remember.
I can only ever see one. Wait.
No, I changed both of them, didn't I?
No.
Oh, okay. You do. You have totally a limit. I pushed it back a little, but let me. Well, that's why I changed it, was because your cousins are coming. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, now I can't remember which ones they.
You should.
Okay, I fixed that.
No. Because I didn't take a picture of it. You please put your name on both of them? Do you want this?
Okay, pass me back.
Three hours and 50 minutes.
You're required
Are they
to
all 3
attend
hours
at
and 50
least
minutes?
4.
Or is this just extra long?
Just this one.
Are you serious?
They're all different lengths.
How long is it?
3 hours, because it doesn't have a synthesis question. Yeah.
My goal is to have a fun test.
Okay, let's talk about this assignment. So, you have this AP test coming up fairly quickly now. It's 5 weeks away. So, and one of those weeks is spring break. Yeah, we are almost done with school. So,
Graduation, if I can graduate though.
so you've got, okay, let me get through this. You've got the test May 10th. That's a Tuesday. It's the first time they've done it on Tuesday. They usually do it on Wednesday, but it doesn't matter. To get us prepared for that, we need to practice more timed writing. So you have had a few opportunities in class to do timed writing. We will have a synthesis timed essay in a couple weeks that's in class. So you'll get a chance to practice that. But even, I mean, that's only like, I think you've done like 4 of them. That will have you doing 4 of them. And you need more just to get an idea of how quickly you can write, what kind of structure you can actually accomplish in that time period. Like it's a matter of like practicing these. So you're going to be required to come to 4 after school sessions where we do time writings. So all that it is you come in here, I give you the prompt, you sit down, 40 minutes, you write your essay, then you can leave. It's not like me guiding the sessions or anything. I give you really prompt feedback on this. I always prioritize these. So I give it to you the next day. You get the feedback on it so you can really know like what to improve for the next time you take one. You are welcome to come to more than 4 if you want. I have had students come to, I feel like Ally Rose, you came to a bunch last year. Yeah, I've had students come to a bunch of these so that they feel really confident. But I will say that this is the one assignment that I do that like seems to have the most effect on how prepared you feel going into the test. So it's like it's a really good thing to take advantage of. So they start at 2:30, give you 5 minutes to get here, and then they go to 3:10. If you're late, it still goes to 3:10. I don't stay later. And so at 3:10, I cut you off. If you're more than, sometimes it's like 7-8 minutes. If you're more than that, late, then I just tell you to come back another time. So if 2:30 is like an impossibility for you, arrange something with me so that we can work that out. Also on Friday, I give you 2 chances. It's not after school. It's either during that personalized learning hour or the hour after that. So 1 to 1:40 or 2 to 2:40. You can go to both of those. There'll be different prompts. So if you want the practice of like actually writing in a row, in fact, if you are like, I'm going to stay for both, I can just give you both prompts and you can do them both at once and stay for, what's that, hour 20? Right? Yeah, you can stay for an hour 20 and do both of them. That takes care of 2 of your assigned review sessions. I will say that 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock hour, I'm already seeing AP teachers planning to use that. If you're in other AP classes, like they already want to take up that time. So that's why I've got, you can come after school on a different day. I also am making you come to 2 multiple choice practices. This is a little more painful because we don't have Fridays anymore, so I have to do these in the morning. Well, I put the wrong days though. Cross out Monday, Wednesday. Those are the AP Lit days. So cross those out.
Can I go to
Ours is Tuesday, Thursday. No Friday, because that's when we have to meet as teachers. If you want it, just as fun.
Is it?
It doesn't count for this.
I know, but is it like completely different?
No, it'll be the same prompts.
What am I crossing?
Because I'm very limited on the number of prompts I have. Instead of Monday, Wednesday, it is Tuesday, Thursday for your
I
you
love
guys.
the solid cross that.
So technically I had one today. No one that I gave this assignment to yesterday came. Because procrastination, right? But there will be one Thursday if you want to come at 7. So it's 7 to 7:25. We do a little multiple choice practice. We go through the questions and then you're done. So you got to come to 2 of those. All right.
I don't even show up to school on time.
I am dividing it based on the genre. So the first week that we do this, including the 28th, which I'm sorry, I should have gotten this to you last week, but starting today, like you could come to the one after school today if you wanted to. We're doing argument essays. So we'll give you an argument prompt. Then we'll move into synthesis. Those are a little bit longer. You'll have to stay 15 minutes longer for those ones. And then rhetorical analysis is the biggest chunk of time, and it's at the end. So that by the time I'm offering the rhetorical analyses, we'll have done some reviewing class. So like you'll feel a little bit more ready there. These are do it and get the credit assignments. So I would say like out of all the quarters, 4th quarter is the easiest to get an A. Because these are not essays you have to rewrite. If you come and you write the essay, you get the points for doing it. Unless it's like, nobody's done this in AP, but if you like spent 5 minutes and you wrote like 1 paragraph and then you're like, I'm done, then like you're not getting the points. But if you write an essay, you get the total points. And it's worth 130 points total. So like there aren't that many grades in 4th quarter that really can get you a high grade.
Extra, you get
There's 25 points per session. It doesn't say there's a maximum.
Yeah, there is a maximum amount. I will I will say as it gets closer to the end of the term, occasionally I have said, okay, you were late on all of these assignments. If you come to one more review session, I'll help you out there, but not extra credit officially. But if you can come to as many as you want, I will always give you feedback. Does anybody have questions about, one other thing. You do not need to come to one of each. I kind of suggest it. It could be a good idea, but if you're just like, I always get 5s and 6s on 6s, no, but I always get 4s and 5s on my argument essays, but I always get 2s and 3s on my rhetorical analysis, then you can wait and you can come to more rhetorical analysis practices. That's fine.
Do you ever give out 6s?
I have given a few 6s this year, yeah.
I think Ray's got one.
So does anyone have any questions now about this assignment?
How many weeks long is this?
I want to say this is 5 weeks.
Okay, so like I could just come once every week.
Well, and then you'd get 5 done.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Track, so like I'd like a day where I just say I can't.
Okay, and I did give you a little like notice here. I know that like with track, with like tennis, that'll start back up. There are a few sports that totally conflict with these review sessions. I have the Friday option, which like should hopefully give you some room to maneuver there. But if you absolutely can't come in to do these, I can arrange something where I give you the essay, you promise to do it in the 40 minutes, you come back, and I can arrange that. But I will say it is not as useful of a practice, because it's like here you're like sitting, it feels a little bit more stressful, even though it shouldn't be, but it does. It's a little bit better to come to the school. But if you're like, I really have to be there every day for track,
Yeah, I remember last year when I did track, I had to I just made myself do it a little faster, and it helped me on my times. So,
because track starts at 3.
yeah, because I just got my done faster.
Oh, okay.
It made me more confident on the essays. So we can all do that.
Yeah, that could be a possibility. Also, if you rush here, I can give it to you right away, right at 2:25. If you have a teacher that lets you get out 5 minutes early, I'm not saying to ask them that, and I'm not telling you to do that. But if you have a teacher that lets you get out 5 minutes early because they're just like, oh, it's work time, I can start you early on it too. Okay. Does anyone have any other questions?
How was your day?
Great.
Did you have breakfast?
No,
Do you ever have breakfast?
I sometimes eat trail mix during first period. Yes.
7 breakfasts for the week.
Yeah,
Is that just how long?
that's a lot. Yeah. So you spend about 10 to 13 minutes doing questions, and then we have 10 minutes to talk about it.
In the morning, you said you do 6 to
Different what?
could I do that? Disgusting. What are you?
Yep.
Do you ever have
You can come on Tuesday, Thursday.
you ate it and then you're chewing it?
Okay, then that is all for today. You got 3 minutes of free time. You are welcome, man. Wow, what a luxury.
Can I go?
Huh?
Thanks, Sakura.
No, I've gotten in trouble for that.